Okay, welcome back, everybody. So this is another episode of recognizing, understanding natural English native sounds. And then if you have a chance to try to use that as well. So the first step of understanding native sounds is to be able to understand what people are saying. And then if you're able to then make those same sounds, it will help your communication skill as well. So I made a video, but it was canceled for copyright reasons. I hope this one stays. So this is obviously Barack Obama. And what I've done is I've taken a clip of when he visited Canada and made a speech. So this is a pretty good example of natural English. And Obama's famous for being a very nice speaker. Keep in mind that he speaks in phrases. So he pauses at certain times. He's a professional speaker. He's very, very good at speaking publicly. But I want to look at some of the sounds that he makes, the blending, TD change, and pause. I also did a video about LR sound and TH sound, so you can look at those. And if we get a chance, we'll talk a little bit about vowels. So let's just go ahead and listen. It's just two very short clips. And what I'll do is I'll play those to give you a chance to just try to listen and understand if you can hear what he said. And then what we'll do is we'll look at what he actually said, the text, and we'll look at the different ways that he's blended TD changes and pauses. And then I'll give you a chance then to be able to listen to it one more time. As always, if you go ahead and read the text into Vocaroo, and then you put that up into the comment section, the first three people, I'll give you direct feedback about how your sounds are, and that'll be directly for you based on what you've said. So let's go ahead and just listen to two very short phrases. I'm going to pause it and then move it forward, and then we'll have a little chat about that. So here we go. Let's get started with that.
People of Canada, thank you for this extraordinary welcome, which tempts me to just shut up and leave. Because it can't get any better than this. Obviously, I'm grateful for the warm welcome. I'm extraordinarily grateful for the close working relationship and friendship with your outstanding Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and his extraordinary wife, Sophie. But I think it's fair to say that much of this greeting is simply a reflection of the extraordinary alliance and deep friendship between Canadians and Americans.
Okay, so let's stop there. And I want to give you one more little piece. Just hang on for a second. Okay, so let's go to the second little piece. This is only about 20 seconds here. So here we go.
So Canada was the very first country that I visited as president. It was in February. It was colder. I was younger. Michelle now refers to my hair as the Great White North.
Okay, so those are the two clips. So take a second. What is it that you heard? He speaks in very identifiable chunks. He separates it, I think, by breathing, and he has excellent timing for before he delivers a joke or after he delivers a joke or an important phrase. He pauses to build a little bit of drama, and afterwards he pauses to make sure that his point is very clear. So he's obviously an excellent professional, beautiful speaker. So there's lots that we can learn, but for my teaching point about how to sound natural, Canada, US were very similar. So what I wanted to do was go back then and look at the words themselves, and let's go and analyze blending, TD change, pause. If we can find TH and LR sounds, we'll also look at those. And if we can look at some vowel sounds that he does that are a little bit different maybe than what people who are learning English try. So let's use him as a really good example of how to sound like a native speaker. So let's get started on that. Just a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the words. People of Canada, thank you for this extraordinary welcome, which tempts me to just shut up and leave because it can't get any better than this. Obviously, I'm grateful for the warm welcome. I'm extraordinarily grateful for the close working relationship and friendship with your outstanding Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his extraordinary wife Sophie. But I think it's fair to say that much of this greeting is simply a reflection of the extraordinary alliance and deep friendship between Canadians and Americans. So let's look at this from those 3 or 4 or 5 points that we talked about how to sound native. The first one is blending, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the beginning of native sounds, how to sound like a native speaker. Number 1 is blending, number 2 is TD change, number 3 is pause, number 4 is LR and TH sounds, and number 5 is vowel sounds. So go back and watch those and then come back. This is more of a training video to show you how to practice, give you a chance to practice, and how to sound like a native English speaker. My dream is that on the telephone, you can trick someone to think you were born in Canada. That's my dream for everybody who's studying. And part of making that trick is being able to sound like a native speaker, make the same sounds. What it looks like is not what it sounds like. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this one. So immediately I see there's an O, so I know that's going to blend. People of Canada, thank you, thank you. That's kind of a blend there. We often blend before Y. Thank you, thank you. So that blends together. For this extraordinary welcome, which tempts me to just shut up. Fan, no D on leave. T in shut up changes to a D. Again, it may be that he pauses, and when he pauses, because he's a professional speaker, he might enunciate a little bit clearly, but you'll see most of these patterns. Let me make that a nicer D. Okay, shut up and leave, because it can't get any better, double D in the middle, better than this. Obviously, I'm grateful. So there's a TD change, or there's a pause there. Grateful for the warm welcome. I'm extraordinarily grateful for the close working relationship, and we don't even say the D here, relationship and friendship. When we put pairs together, cats and dogs, boys and girls, fish and chips, rock and roll, we don't say and, we often say n. So that's because we drop the D. And friendship with your outstanding prime, that sound continues, it's not really a blend. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and I think there's a pause here. I think he pauses, but if you don't, it would be Trudeau and there's no D. His extraordinary wife Sophie. I think this is probably the beginning of a new sentence. We could put a big B here. But T changes to D on a blend, but I think it's fair to say, this is another good example of what I did in steps 4 and 5, where what it looks like and what it sounds like, vowel sounds. I don't say to, especially when I say it quickly. Fair to say, and I think in this case it's actually fair to say, which means there's another TD change. Let's listen together, and then we can see whether or not that's exactly what's happening. That much of this greeting, yep. And I think he pauses, but you could also blend, is simply reflection of the extraordinary alliance and, wow, that's a long one. Extraordinary alliance and deep friendship, wow, between Canadians and there's a blend and Americans. Okay, so we have examples of blend, we have examples of TD change, lots of examples of TD change, and lots of examples of pause. So we'll go back and look at him, but first I want to read it for you. Here we go. People of Canada, thank you for this extraordinary welcome, which tempts me to just shut up and leave, because it can't get any better than this. Obviously, I'm grateful for the warm welcome. I'm extraordinarily grateful for the close working relationship and friendship with your outstanding Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and his extraordinary wife, Sophie. But I think it's fair to say that Much of this greeting simply a reflection of the extraordinary alliance and deep friendship between. That's a long one. He's probably got a pause somewhere there. Let's try again. I can't stop in the middle of that blend. Reflection of the extraordinary alliance and deep friendship between Canadians and Americans. So we can pause after the word between, but it's really difficult to pause in the middle because we break up the pauses and the blends. Let's see what he does. Okay, so let's go back and just listen to the first part, and I'm going to put that up beside so that you can see it. So just hang on for a second. Okay, so I'll turn the audio on. I didn't put it on the screen because I want it big enough for you to be able to see. So let's listen to the first clip with Barack Obama addressing the Canadian Senate. Here we go. Let's listen for what we now know are blends. There's another blend there. There's another blend. Let's listen and see how closely he sounds like that. In fact, what I'll do is I'll change to blue so that we can see things that maybe he does or doesn't do that I may have missed. Here we go.
People of Canada.
Okay, so here we go with people of. So he did that one. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for this extraordinary welcome.
Thank you for this. He had a little pause here. I think he's enunciating very clearly, but we heard the thank you. Okay, let's listen to the next part.
Which tempts me to just shut up and leave.
Okay, so you could hear this is a phrase because he's delivering a joke, but he didn't actually say the T, right? He didn't say the T. He said just, and he held it. Shut up and leave. Beautiful. Pause, TD change, blend, blend, pause, and leave. So this is a perfect example of what we've talked about. He's done all 3 or 4 of what we talked about for native English sounds. Here we go.
Because it can't get any better than this.
Because it can't get any better. TD change, better than this. And if you're not sure, I'll put the link to this video in the description, the description below, and you can give a listen yourself and see. Let's continue with the next part. Because it can't get any better than this. Because it can't get any better than, no. Because it can't get any better than this. Because it can't get any better than this. Obviously, here we go.
Obviously, I'm
Actually, he blends here. Obviously, I'm grateful.
I'm grateful for the warm welcome.
Okay, so that's fine.
I'm extraordinarily grateful for.
He's got the blend there.
The close working relationship and friendship with your outstanding. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his. And is actually he does pronounce the D. Notice he's blended this. That's something I missed. And is, so that's the H blend in certain cases where H blends. We've talked about it, or I've talked about it in another video you can watch there to see. Extraordinary wife, Sophie.
But I
think it's fair to say that.
I think it's fair to say. Let me go back a little bit. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, I went ahead too far. Just a second. Let's try this one. Okay, let's try. I think it's fair to say.
Trudeau and his extraordinary wife.
But I think it's fair to.
But I think it's fair to say that.
Fair to say.
That much of this greeting is simply a reflection.
Okay, a reflection. He takes a big breath because this all goes together.
Of the extraordinary alliance and deep friendship between Canadians and Americans.
Okay, so he did have another pause here because he's a beautiful speaker. So he takes pauses sometimes when he needs to take a breath or when he needs to not speak too quickly. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. I'm going to let him read the entire thing again and you can watch what it looks like and what it sounds like. You can see from the changes that we've made to the speech outline here with the blends and pauses. So let me go back here. Okay, I think, let me go, we're almost there. Okay, I think we're a little bit started. Here we go. Let's listen to the whole thing.
Thank you for this extraordinary welcome, which tempts me to just shut up and leave. Because it can't get any better than this. Obviously, I'm grateful for the warm welcome. I'm extraordinarily grateful for the close working relationship and friendship with your outstanding Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and his extraordinary wife, Sophie. But I think it's fair to say that much of this greeting is simply a reflection of the extraordinary alliance and deep friendship between Canadians and Americans.
Okay, so that's the first part. And the last part that I want to do is it makes another nice joke. So what I'll do is I'll set that last piece up and we'll look for the same thing. We'll go through the same process. So just hang on for a second and I'll get that part ready. Okay, so you can see the top part between Canadians and Americans. So let's continue with the next part. So Canada was the very first country that actually, let me change to red so we're consistent here. Just hang on for a second. Let's go to that. Was the very first country that I visited. I don't think so. Visited as president. He doesn't say the T on the end of president. It was in the interesting pronunciation here, by the way. Listen carefully and see if you can hear what the difference is. It's pretty common to pronounce it this way because that's a difficult word to pronounce. It was colder. There's no T there. It was colder. I was younger. I wonder if that's a blend. I was younger. Michelle now refers to my hair as the Great White North. And there's your TH sound that you're looking for at the end. So this is what it looks like with the rules we've talked about. Blending, TD change, pause. LR, the fourth step was LR and TH sound, and then some of those vowel sounds. So let's have a listen now to what he says and how he phrases so that you can practice this at home. Okay, here we go.
So Canada was the very first country that I visited as president.
That I visited as. Can you hear the TD change? He doesn't say visited. He says visited as president. I don't think he says president. Let me go back.
Visited as president.
Yeah, he doesn't say president. He says president. That's the third one. It's the pause. He doesn't say T. We don't often say T. Shirt, hat. We don't say hat. President. Okay. It was in February.
It was in February.
Oh, there's no T on it. Thank you for that. Actually, these are things that let's change to blue. It was in February. He got me. I missed that one.
It was colder. I was younger. Michelle now refers to my hair as the Great White North.
Okay, so you can hear that. Great White? No. And the TH sound, Great White North. So for those of you, I put up a video about TH sound and how to be careful. So LR and TH and how to make those sounds. And North has TH at the end. Those are pretty tricky words to start with. You might want to start with TH at the beginning if you're practicing, like thank you. Every time you say thank you, use a nice TH. Start with one word. Watch those videos on LR and TH sound, and I'll go through that in detail. So let's listen one more time. Great White North. Did we get it?
Visited as president.
Okay, let's go back and listen to the entire thing again. Okay. Okay, here we go.
So Canada was the very first country that I visited as president. It was in February.
It was in February. It was colder.
It was colder.
He doesn't have a strong T.
I was younger.
The Great White North.
Michelle now refers to my hair as the Great White North.
So all of these points that we've talked about, right? We talk about how to blend words together. This is a perfect example of a beautiful English speaker, native English speaker. Sound blending's beautiful, TD change, pausing, LRTH pronunciation, and some of the vowel sounds that we didn't point out on this one. What I wanted to go back to was this word. Some people, it looks like February. Let's listen very carefully to how he pronounces it.
So Canada was the very first country that I visited as president. It was in February.
He doesn't say the R. He says February. He doesn't say February because that's difficult. And it's very common for people to not say the R in February and sounds like February. And everybody will understand you. It's like clothes is really difficult to say. The sound is just close because people understand close the door and clothes are completely different. One is a verb and one is a noun, and it depends on the story. Yes, I'd like to buy some new clothes. Clothes, not clothes. If you do, that's okay. But a lot of native speakers don't because it's difficult. February is difficult to say. Okay, so let's go back to the very beginning. Just hang on for a second and I'll prep that. Okay, so here's the last thing. There's the example of the video. I'll put the link in the comment section, in the description section, so that if you want to go and listen to the video yourself, you can. If you'd like to turn on, let me do this. If you'd like to turn on captions, you'll be able to see the words and phrases. It's not perfect, but it's generally very close. You can actually turn on the transcript so you can see. But I've given you an example here of the entire part. There's a little bit of a blank in between. It starts at 57 seconds and ends at 2 minutes 28. There's a little blank in between because I didn't have enough time. I could do the whole speech, but I don't need to do all of it. So give this a try. Take a screenshot of this. If you go ahead and record that in Vocaroo, put the link in the comment section. The first 3 people that comment and that put up their recording, I'll give you feedback directly. Good luck with that. So here's another example of how to sound native. Who's better example than the former president of the United States? Beautiful speaker, native speaker. And I think we've seen lots of things that he does exactly like we talked about. I know it's difficult. You got to keep fighting. These are the differences of what it sounds like and what it looks like is very different. But I'm giving you all those tricks so that you can, first of all, understand a little bit more. And then when you're speaking, people will understand more of your communication will be more successful. Keep fighting. Good luck.